Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to yet another video. This week on my workbench, I've got a hodgepodge of things on the go. You can see in front of you I got ships, tanks, mechs, Napoleonics, some toy cars in the back there, some modern looking soldiers, some giants. And that's because this week, well really the last 2 weeks have been really hard on me and my wife, and no one's passed away, thank God, touch wood, but mentally it's been a rough one. We're in the midst of, I think I'm about to lose my job any day now. I don't know for sure, although I have pretty concrete evidence that that's happening. The company says that no decisions have been finalized, and that's just corporation safe for saying basically we're making your division null and void and we're moving on. So we've been, pretty rock bottom. After all that's been going on in the last couple of years with me mentally, this is sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back. So for the last 2 weeks I've been kind of moping around. That's why I haven't been very active uploading videos. Usually I try to do 2 to 3 a week, but I just haven't had the mental fortitude to be able to focus on anything. But my wife's, she's a rock, so she started painting my models for me, which kind of got me not into the mood of painting them, but no, don't do that, I'll help. So between the two of us, we've managed to get a few things done, and we're just going to show that off right now. I will say that there's really so much to paint. I don't even know where to start, but we've had our hands in almost every game system that we own, plus a couple. We bought another game system the other day after watching a fantastic AAR or game report or campaign report from a fellow YouTuber who has very few subscribers. I know I don't have very many, but I'm going to link his channel in the description, and please check him out. I don't know him, I know nothing about him, but the work he put into this campaign for the game Spectre Operations, it's a modern skirmish game. The amount of work he put into this campaign report, in all my years of watching YouTube battle reports and all that, this blew my mind. So I'm going to link that in the description below, but he got me hooked on this game system, and my head's spinning. So he basically single-handedly really took me out of my funk that I was in the last couple of weeks. And in the last few days, really, I think the last 3 days, me and my wife, we did all this. Plus a whole bunch more, but we finished these. So first up on the painting desk, I'm just going to show you randomly what I have. We were into Battletech. I painted some tanks and some missile carriers and some helicopters and a special mech back there. We tried to play the game, the Napoleonic skirmish game called Forager that I've talked about a couple of times. And it's really meant for 4 to 5 to 6 figures. It's not really meant for more than 6. And I tried to make it work with 20 or 25 per side, and it just, although the game rules seem really cool, I don't want to play a 6-figure skirmish game. So we quickly adapted, and even though I had enough figures to play that game, I painted 20 aside. We quickly switched over to a rule set called Chosen Men by Osprey Publishing. And what you see in the back here is my additions to the Forager force that I had made just to make the list legal. So I'll show you those close up in a minute, but essentially some more French right there, a few, and some more British. Then a very nice viewer on the channel, he made a comment a couple weeks ago about my Ogre army, the 10mm War Master army, or Kings of War army that I'm making, and he pointed me in the direction of a couple of giants for the Ogres, or for War Master, in 10mm scale that I managed to find thanks to him. And I bought the STL and I printed out a couple of giants, and they are amazing. So thank you very much to that guy. I will try and remember your name. Then what I had here is a couple of weeks ago when I spoke about, I've painted all my Battletech, everything for Battletech that I bought, I physically painted. And I lied to myself, I didn't. I had all these metal tanks and stuff hanging around, and that mech and the helicopters. And I pulled my head out of my behind, and I painted them. So they are done, thank God. And thanks to my wife that she really hot pokered me in the right direction to get those finished. Then, because of that video series I was talking about, that campaign report on Spectre Operations, I ordered the book, the rule book for Spectre. I downloaded a bunch of STLs. I ordered some vehicles and some figures online. They haven't arrived yet. But the STLs that I bought, I did print out a whole bunch, and I painted them. So far, I painted the Russian side up. I have the Americans off here to my left. You'll see them in my in a second. And then I really, really loved painting the American ships, the battleships or dreadnoughts for Broadside Empires Steel. And their Kickstarter their third Kickstarter is on its way now. I think it's halfway through. If you've heard me speak about Broadside Empire Steels, look them up on Kickstarter. I'll try and put the link in the description. But they're busting through their stretch goals. I think every stretch goal they've thought of, they're at, I think, already. But I was so impressed by the American ships that I printed off the remaining 4 dreadnoughts. Now, I didn't print off every dreadnought the US had in World War I. I printed off one of every class. So I printed off their 4 remaining classes that I don't have. I'll show you them in a second. And then we'll be back in a minute. I'll show you the close-ups of the individual things. And I'll show you what I'm up to in the next update, I guess. Hold on. So I'm going to go handheld here for a second because it's just easier without moving everything. These are my Napoleonics. They're Perry miniatures. These are the add-on British for my force for chosen men. Because chosen men, you need, I think in a British, I don't know, what the lowest unit or British line that you have to have a standard. So I painted up 2 standards. There's a sergeant, and you have to have a drummer. So there's 2 drummers, because I'm going to have 2 units. And then I had to fill out the few men at the back just to make a few more line infantry, just to make it legal. And then I just wanted to build one of the guns from Victrix, so I did that. I built one of the guns. There's a British cannon, a 9-pounder, I think. I didn't particularly like the heads from Victrix. As far as plastic 28mm figures go, they are amazing at the moment. Their figures are just outstanding at the moment. But when this set was released, I think at the time it was probably top tier, but looking at it next to the Perry miniatures is actually pretty low on the grading scale. So I changed the heads to Perry heads, and I left the bodies at Victrix. I kind of tried to drill out the hole there for the barrel. But that is my cannon, and that is going to be... I'm not 100% if the uniforms are correct or not. I have never really done much research in the Peninsular War for the British side or the French. So painting up Peninsula-style British infantry and French infantry is kind of out of my realm of expertise, if you can say I have any. Essentially, I like the 1805, 1809, well, 1805 to 1812 Napoleonic era, essentially the height of Napoleon's power when he fought the Russians, Austrians, Prussians, and Russians. Did I say that? Anyway, I didn't spend much time in the peninsula. I kind of find the names hard to say. So for some reason, sorry, excuse me, the French names I can get, but the Spanish names I can't. Anyway, I also had to print up some French. Starting to ramble a bit. I needed a leader for the dragoons, so I printed up a sergeant or whatever, a corporal, a couple of extra men to fill out the units, extra leader, and a flag bearer for the French. So that's what I did for them. A very quick job. I just rushed through these. And that's Napoleonic stuff. Then I'll bring you over here to the giants that I got from, can't remember the name of the place, but someone who follows the channel, he pointed me in the right direction, and my wife actually painted these giants, and didn't she do a great job? Oh, there's a sheep right there. Wow. So these are really nice. Try to see if I can get a close-up. She painted these amazing, as far as I'm concerned. So there's one about to club someone, and then she painted this one here. That's pretty cool too. He's got a cage on his belt. So those are my 2 giants. They're going to be for my ogres to finish them off. Then we painted a whole bunch of Battletech tanks. I'm not 100% on the names of these, but these might be Rommel tanks, I think. These are Scorpions. These are LRMs, long-range missile carriers. There's 2 of them. And then I made some SRMs, short-range missiles. from some GHQ figures. This is at the bottom. The hull is an Israeli modern day Merkava tank, and the launcher is some sort of Russian or maybe American rocket launching system, just the back of it. So there's a bunch of them. There's some more tanks here, Scorpions. I can't remember what these tanks are called. Anyway, I'm not going to do that. I think this tank right here, I think this is actually called a Merkava tank, if I'm not mistaken. I made him blue just to use him. Very basic paint job. And then this beast, I think it's called a Behemoth, but I painted one of these just to have one on the table. I then painted a couple of warrior attack helicopters in a very basic gray pattern. Now I have ordered decals, but they won't be here for a bit. So maybe when the decals go on there, it'll look a little bit less plain, but there's two of them. Then there's this thing here, I think it's called a Kestrel. It's like sort of like a troop carrier. Again, in the basic gray. Ordered decals might liven that up a little bit. And then this is I had a hard time painting this thing. It's some sort of like VTOL. It's French. I didn't realize I did that. It was meant to be a Davian colors, but looks French. It's some sort of transport thing. Anyway, I don't know Battletech very well, but that's the Battletech that I painted. Now here you'll see I painted a couple of extra ships for Broadside Empires Steel. This is the SMS Radetzky, or I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but Radetzky. I just love this ship to bits. I just love the layout of the guns, the command tower there. This is probably my favorite ship I've ever printed off and painted. And that's that one. I printed off the granddad of the US Dreadnoughts, the South Carolina. A very unique looking ship. At first, I really hated these towers, whatever they're called. They look like jungle gyms from McDonald's, versus like what these guys have. But I guess they're extremely functional. And now that I've painted several of them, I actually really, really like them. And in this day and age, anyway, I think McDonald's is ripping down all their jungle gyms. At least in Canada here. I see a lot of them under construction. I guess COVID's ruined that for the kids. But anyway, there's the South Carolina. This is the USS Nevada. Not sure where all these rocks are coming from. USS Nevada. There's two, I think, in this class of ship. But this looks a lot like the Pennsylvania class. Really, really nice. If anyone's wondering how I did the basing for this, it's just actually a medium gray primer for the hull. Then the entire thing is washed with a 25... 7, or I guess a 1-to-3 ratio of contrast paint, basilicanum gray, and water. Ink the whole thing. Then I paint the hull with Dungeon Gray from Army Painter. The top is Luftwaffe Gray, the German World War II Luftwaffe Gray. It's kind of like a greenish color. And then just a lighter gray on top just to highlight the turrets, and some white. Anyway, there's the Nevada. I'm running out of time. My phone's going to die here in a second. There's the Nevada. I also did the Wyoming, which has smaller caliber guns, but a really cool layout. And the more I paint these ships, the more I love them. Wyoming, and then I did the Florida, which is a smaller ship, but still pretty cool looking. Also, a really nice layout on the ship. So there's my US fleet, the battleships at least, in a row. And then, there's another one, the fourth one. And then a wild SMS Radetzky. Then I painted some Russians, modern day Russians, or modern day futuristic Russians for the game Spectre Operations. These are DevGru, something or other. Here's a fellow with a shotgun, combat shotgun. There's a couple with AK-47s. Really easy to do the uniform on these. First I painted Russian Army uniform all over. Then I did a 1-to-2 contrast dark angel green and medium. Glazed all over that. Then I did contrast paint Cygor brown. Just did a few dabs around. And then the webbing was Russian uniform again, then washed with Agrax Earthshade, and then topped off with Talaran Sand. And that's how I did the uniforms for them, if anyone cares. But you can see there's a whole bunch of them here, a whole team of 9. I'm going to do some more. I have some Spetsnats I have printed off I'm going to do, and they're the really heavily armed guys. And that's what I got painted so far. And then I bought these cards from Walmart, and I'm going to use them as rough them up and make them look a little weird for the Spectre Operations game. Ignore that Toyota RAV4, he's way out of scale. I printed off some more STL files for Battletech, some more tanks. I have my Americans for my Marines for Spectre, some more Battletech, some more Napoleonic. I'm doing Cuirassier to finish off my project, and then we're doing terrain for Battletech, and that's what we're up to. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to try and remember to put the links in the description, and we'll talk to you again soon. And I have 2 seconds before my battery runs out. Bye-bye.